Today we'll discuss the second topic of your chapter, life processes, that is respiration. Respiration is made from a Latin word that is respire, that means to breathe. Although breathing is entirely different from respiration, ब्रीदिंग और रेस्पिरेशन में डिफरेंस होता है, वो हम इस चैप्टर के आगे, इस टॉपिक के आगे पढ़ने वाले हैं बच्चों. फर्स्ट विल डिस्कस व्हाट इज रेस्पिरेशन. In the previous topic, that is nutrition, we have studied that the food which we eat is in the complex form. We break it into a simpler form, and then that simpler food is broken down to produce energy, and that is what referred as respiration. Production of energy from the food by its oxidation is known as respiration. Or you can say the oxidation of digested food or simple food to produce energy along with carbon dioxide and water is known as respiration. Respiration occurs in the mitochondria of the cell. The process of respiration is food, which is digested food obviously, plus oxygen gas, which is transported to each and every cell by the help of blood, will produce carbon dioxide, water, along with the release of energy, and energy is released in the form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. How that ATP is formed? The energy which is released during the respiration, that energy helps an inorganic phosphate, an independent phosphate, to add with the adenosine diphosphate. Di means two. One more phosphate is added to this in the terminal position, and triphosphate is formed. Tri means 3 phosphate. It is ATP. So that's how ATP is formed by the energy consumption, and then whensoever we later on require energy, that ATP is broken down, and when that ATP broken down to form ADP and inorganic phosphate, that terminal phosphate when broke release 30.5 kilojoule per mole of energy. That's how energy is stored in the form of ATP, and whensoever we require that energy for our later on processes, we get that energy by breaking the ATP into ADP and inorganic phosphate. The amount of energy which is released is 30.5 kilojoule per mole. Now on this screen, there are two more terms written. The first one is respiratory substrate. Now the question arises, what do you mean by respiratory substrate? The organic molecule which undergoes oxidation during respiration is known as respiratory substrate. वो सब्सटेंस बच्चों जो रेस्पिरेशन में ऑक्सीडेशन के लिए जाएगा, जिसकी ऑक्सीडेशन से एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस होगी, दैट सब्सटेंस इज नोन एज रेस्पिरेटरी सबस्ट्रेट. द मोस्ट कॉमन रेस्पिरेटरी सबस्ट्रेट इज ग्लूकोज. नेक्स्ट टर्म इज मेटाबॉलिक गैसेस. The gases which are produced after the respiration or during respiration are known as metabolic gases. The gases which are produced after the oxidation of respiratory substrate are known as metabolic gases. Metabolic gases are also known as respiratory gases. So, bachcho, broadly this whole term explains the respiration process. Now we'll discuss the modes of respiration. Respiration is of two types basically. This dividation, this basis of classification is the presence or absence of oxygen. On the basis of oxygen presence or absence, we divide respiration into two modes. First is aerobic respiration, and another one is anaerobic. Air term means air. Air means oxygen. The respiration which occurs in the presence of oxygen is known as aerobic respiration, and the mode of respiration which occurs in the absence of oxygen is known as anaerobic respiration. We all know the digested food goes to the cell. In the cytoplasm, that digested food, that respiratory substrate, that is glucose, is broken down into a 3-carbon molecule known as pyruvate. ये जो ग्लूकोज जो 6 कार्बन मॉलिक्यूल है C6H12O6, एक 3 कार्बन मॉलिक्यूल एक एसिड में कन्वर्ट होता है, दैट इज पायरुवेट, और इट इज आल्सो रेफर्ड एज पायरुविक एसिड. This process is known as glycolysis, and this occurs in cytoplasm. This step occurs in aerobic respiration as well as in anaerobic. ये जो स्टेप है पहला, ये एरोबिक में भी होगा और एनारोबिक में भी. First, we'll talk about the aerobic respiration, in which oxygen is present in sufficient amount. Then that pyruvate goes into the mitochondria. And we all know from our previous class that mitochondria is known as powerhouse of the cell. If oxygen is present in plenty of amount, then that pyruvate is broken down into carbon dioxide, water, along with the release of energy. In total, there are 36 ATPs are produced. This process is known as Krebs cycle. Along with the Krebs cycle, there is one more process occurs that is known as terminal phosphorylation, but that is not in your syllabus. That will come in class +1 biology. So that's how the aerobic respiration completes. First, glucose broke down into pyruvate, then pyruvate goes to the mitochondria, Krebs cycles occur, and then production of carbon dioxide, water takes place along with the release of energy. In total, there are 36 ATP are produced during aerobic respiration. Next mode of respiration is anaerobic, in which respiration or the breakdown of food occurs in the absence of oxygen. It occurs in two modes, two type of various cells. First, in the microorganism, and the microorganism in which it occurs is most commonly yeast or anaerobic bacteria as well. In microorganisms who respire in the absence of oxygen, the pyruvate will remain in the cytoplasm. It does not go to the mitochondria. And in the cytoplasm, this pyruvate is broken down into ethanol and carbon dioxide, along with the release of energy. 2 ATP are produced during it. So what's the difference basic? Here more energy is released and here less. Here 36 ATP are produced and here only 2. Next thing, the production of ethanol from glucose during anaerobic respiration is known as fermentation. And this fermentation is used in the brewery industry. In the production of wine and beer industry, we use this process. The next mode of anaerobic respiration is when that pyruvate will goes to our muscle cell. Not in the usual conditions, especially in the heavy exercise or heavy workout conditions. When we do workout after a long interval of gap or long interval of time, then the availability of oxygen is not sufficient. Then in the insufficient amount of oxygen in our muscle cell, anaerobic respiration occurs. And the pyruvate is converted into a 3-carbon molecule, that is lactic acid. As much as this is 3-carbon molecule, this is also 3 carbon, so no CO2 is produced during this. Along with the release of energy, small amount of energy is released. This lactic acid keep on accumulating in our muscles, and that accumulation of lactic acid will result in muscle cramps. You must have studied this muscle cramps in class 7th as well. क्या होता है बच्चों, जब एनारोबिक रेस्पिरेशन होता है हमारी मसल सेल में, तो ये लैक्टिक एसिड धीरे धीरे इकट्ठा होने लगता है और इस अकम्युलेशन की वजह से हमारी मसल्स में पेन होने लगता है. दैट accumulation, that collection of lactic acid in our muscle cell during a vigorous exercise by anaerobic respiration of glucose is known as muscle cramps. We have a remedy from them, and that remedy is hot water bath or massage. And we all know, जब बच्चों हम कुछ दिनों बाद एकदम से भागते हैं ज्यादा तो हमारी मसल्स में पेन होने लगता है. उस केस में हमारे मदर क्या करते हैं, एक हॉट वाटर बाथ की सलाह देते हैं हमें, या मसाज करते हैं बच्चे, और हॉट ऑयल की मसाज करते हैं. उस हॉट ऑयल मसाज से क्या होता है, द ब्लड सर्कुलेशन becomes more faster towards these muscles, and lactic acid with more oxygen will again break down into carbon dioxide and water, and that's how lactic acid is removed and we get relief from the muscle cramps. So do remember these topics. This chart is very important for your board exam. This is a part of last year's CBSE sample paper question. So do make this chart properly and carefully. Read it from the NCERT book as well. Now we will differentiate between aerobic and anaerobic respiration in a tabular manner. बच्चों अगर आप इसे पढ़ रहे हैं तो सामने वो चार्ट ओपन रखिएगा, फ्लो चार्ट जो हमने इससे पहले स्टडी किया था. उस फ्लो चार्ट से आप इस डिफरेंस को बना सकते हैं बच्चों. जैसे कि पहला डिफरेंस जो है वो उनकी डेफिनेशन, उनकी मीनिंग पर है. एज वी ऑल नो, एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन इज द ब्रेकडाउन ऑफ फूड in the presence of oxygen. and anaerobic respiration is breakdown of food in the absence of oxygen. Second is energy produced. amount of energy produced भी लिख सकते हैं आप यहाँ, जैसा कि हमने पहले डिस्कस किया. एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन में more energy is released. More energy is released in the form of ATP. Whereas in anaerobic respiration, the amount of energy produced is less as compared to the aerobic respiration. Next is end products. End products means the products which are formed after the respiration. The end products of aerobic respiration are carbon dioxide gas and water. And the end products of anaerobic respiration are ethanol, carbon dioxide. These two products are formed during fermentation in microorganisms, and other one is the lactic acid, which is formed in the muscle cells during anaerobic respiration during a vigorous exercise. Next, site. Site means the place in the cell where it occurs. हम जानते हैं बच्चे चाहे एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन हो चाहे एनारोबिक, होती तो सेल के अंदर ही है. सेल के अंदर जो सेल ऑर्गेनेलिज है वहां पर कौन कौन सी साइट है जो जहां पर ये हो रहा है. तो एरोबिक रेस्पिरेशन बच्चों साइटोप्लाज्म में होता है. पहला स्टेप दैट इज ग्लाइकोलिसिस. जो ग्लूकोज पायरुवेट में टूटता है वो होता है साइटोप्लाज्म में, और वो पायरुवेट टूटता है कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड और वाटर में इन माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया. तो it occurs in two sites. One is cytoplasm, another one is mitochondria. Whereas anaerobic respiration occurs only in cytoplasm. In case of absence of oxygen, the cytoplasm will plays the part completely. Next, organisms. The organisms in which it is occurring. Aerobic respiration occurs in almost in every organism, but most of the cases it occurs in animals and plant cells. Whereas anaerobic respiration occurs in microorganisms and in muscle cells. You can mention here as well in the bracket that it occurs in the special conditions. In case of vigorous exercise or hard workout, सिर्फ उसी केस में anaerobic respiration होगा. General cases में muscles में anaerobic respiration नहीं होता. Next, toxicity. What do you mean by this? Poisonous. The end products which are produced during these respiration will cause toxicity or not. The aerobic respiration products like carbon dioxide and water, they do not cause toxicity. उनसे कोई toxicity हमारी body में नहीं होती. But the products of anaerobic respiration may cause, you must have to write may cause toxicity. वो कर भी सकते हैं और नहीं. अगर बच्चों इथेनॉल ज्यादा excessive conditions में हो जाए produce हमारी body में lactic acid, then they may cause a toxicity in our body. Otherwise, they do not cause usually. But this point can be written as a difference. Rather than that, you can add one more difference in that, the seventh characteristic which you can make on your own when you write it, and that is breakdown. In aerobic respiration, the breakdown of food is complete, whereas in anaerobic respiration, the partial breakdown of food takes place. That difference you may also write. आप एक और difference लिख सकते हैं बच्चे, that is the breakdown of food. In aerobic respiration, complete breakdown of food takes place, whereas in anaerobic respiration, partial breakdown of food takes place. So that's the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration.